You are now watching MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV. Chill! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, one fourth of the premier voice podcast and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast TV, exclusively on YouTube. Hope all is well. And on this episode, we got my special guest. She is a content creator. She is a self-help author, and many more. And we will be talking to Miss Anna Lewis in the building. And you already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
My name is Anna, and you are listening to the MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I got my special guest. She is a content creator, self-help author, and we're going to talk to her about many things today. We got Miss Anna Lewis in the building. Miss Anna, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing good, and I'm just happy to have you on the show. And yeah, I can't wait to do this.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So first, I'm gonna ask you some icebreaker questions. So first thing first, where are you from?
I'm from the UK, or to be more specific, I'm from the southeast, so basically right by the sea.
Nice, nice. I already had a couple of UK people on the show, so happy to have another one on the show now. So, how would you describe yourself with 3 words?
Oh, it's one of those questions. Okay, hold on. It's one of those you get faced with it, you're like, oh, how would I describe myself? Okay, so I think I'd say bubbly. I'd like to say I'm caring and optimistic.
Okay, nice. Those are good choices. Those are good choices.
Thank
So,
you.
what is one thing you like to do for fun?
I really like to do writing, which a lot of people would probably be shocked about, as that can be seen as quite boring, but I love it. I get a good kick out of it.
I mean, I do some writing as well, poetry, poems, quotes. So I could relate to that. I could definitely relate to that. And what is in your headphones right now? It could be a song, an album, or even a podcast. What are you listening to? What's in your headphones?
Um, I'd actually say I'm listening to George Michael a lot lately.
Wow.
Yeah, very different than what I usually listen to. But I just started listening to a few of his songs probably like a month ago, and I'm just hooked, and I'm just listening to everything at the moment.
Classic, classic. Careless Whisper has always been my favorite song. Trust me.
Oh yes, I love that song. I adore it.
Yes, yes. So let's talk about your beginning of life. So how was you growing up?
So my life has been quite interesting in the sense of I would say I had the traditionally like good life in terms of like family. My mum and dad were married and they were healthy. Okay, they just split up later on in life, but it didn't really impact me. But during school, that's where I struggled most. I did deal with bullying, but I think that's something that honestly I think a lot of people do end up going through that, unfortunately. So it was something that was difficult to navigate and deal with, and I really think that shaped me who I am today because yeah, I'd say there's a lot of character growth through that. I learned to defend myself. And when I was younger, I really was much a people pleaser because I was bullied by a lot of people. And I think it's interesting because during my class, basically the whole class bullied me. So I think it was like a trend, like, oh, because they're doing it, everyone else does it. So because of that, I learned to be very self-sufficient and standing up for myself. So I think because of those experiences, even though it did suck when I was younger, I am in a way a bit glad I went through that because it did shape me into who I am today.
Yeah, we'll get to that next question too.
Mhm.
But I could relate to the bullying because I also would bully a lot growing up, mainly because of my
Hmm.
speech, mainly because of my speech, and yeah, it was hard, it was hard, dealing with that, but just like you, I overcame it, and yeah, and it was a lot. I'm not gonna hold you, so I completely understand, being bullied and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So no, you kind of answered this already, but how all that you've been through made you the person that you are today?
So, like I said, it made me quite resilient because I think once you have everyone sort of gang up on you, be mean, kids being kids, like, you do kind of have to learn to be happy with yourself and not care about what people think. So back in the day when I was a child, I would be very much focused on people pleasing and making them happy. And then because I was bullied, I think that kind of like was elevated even more because I wanted them to like me and to stop bullying me.
Yeah, yeah,
That didn't work. So I just accepted to be like, okay, you know what? They don't like me, whatever. I don't care. Nothing's going to change. And I think I've had like little remarks and stuff back in like more recent times, back into when I was in high school and stuff. And I think because of how I dealt with that in primary school, of the bullying, I think it was easier for me because I didn't really care. Like, if people were mean or made remarks, I just kind of went with it. And I think also it taught me self love because when I was a child, I was a bit different as well. I was on the bigger side and I hit puberty very early. So, when it comes to puberty, it comes with like smells and like growing hair and all that kind of stuff. And because I really wasn't taught that at such a young age, and I didn't, I did smell, but that's just because I wasn't taught about the clean and the hygiene for when it came to puberty. And bear in mind, this is me at like 7, 8 years old. This is really young. Um, so I did have a lot of self-hatred towards myself back then, and I think it just going through that experience, I've taught myself to just love myself for the way I am because people hated me because of those things. Um, I basically learned that, okay, it doesn't matter because what matters right now is how I feel in this moment. And the only thing I can control is what I can do and how I feel about myself. And by learning to control that, the outside just doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah. And I saw that you've been through that. But I'm happy that you overcame it because I know that was a lot. And like I said, just like you, I was also a piece of people pleaser too, and I learned to get out of that as well. So yeah, it's bullying it sucks, but I just happy we both overcame that because it made you
Mm-hmm.
into the best version of yourself now. So shout to you for that. So
Thank you.
one
Yeah,
thing,
I agree.
yeah. So one thing you are a content creator. So what made you want to go that route?
So, funny enough, I started doing content creation when I was about, oh, God, I gotta remember now, when I was 13. For context, I'm 24 now. So, yes, I've been doing it for a long time. And it just started off with me watching YouTube a lot. And I would watch like cute little videos. Like, this is the old YouTube where you had like TMI tags or
Oh
the
yeah.
cinnamon challenge. And
Oh
for
right,
girls,
yeah.
it's what's in my handbag, lookbooks, and that kind of thing. Like today, it's more complicated, but it was easy and simple. And I just watched it and I thought, I really want to do this. And I think if I'm being honest, like during this time, I was a bit more lonely. Um, this is when I just started high school. So all my friends have gone to different schools and I'm in a new place and I struggle to make friends. It's something that I don't find the easiest. So in a way, I think I don't want to say substituted it, but it was a good outlet for me to be creative and to almost like talk to a camera and show people little bits and pieces. And I created a little community through doing that. And I'll be honest, I did stop after a little while, just got a bit older. But I then got back into it because there's a part of life that I really wanted to show. And that was like the finding appreciation and looking at the beauty of life just like in the mundane. And for me, I live in the British countryside and it is absolutely beautiful. And I know in society, especially today, it is very fast paced and we're just doing lots of things. We're focusing on work, we're focusing on friendships and connections and all that. And I just wanted to create a channel where I could step things back a bit and just really appreciate my surroundings and doing slow things. So just like sitting down and drinking a cup of tea and just being in the moment. And I really wanted to channel that through my channel and to showcase that so people can almost like pause and escape for a little bit while they watch my videos.
Nice. Now that is really dope. So tell us about the Honor Diary. What is that about?
So the best way I describe it, honestly, is just my diary. I just showcase the things that I do, and I think, especially these days, as I was mentioning earlier, YouTube has got a bit hectic in the sense that you have big productions and it's massive, like, Mr. Beast, like giving away $1 million and stuff, or like, you get other channels and they kind of do the same things, but it's just a massive studio these days. And I wanted to bring things back to the basic where I just do little vlogs and I create nice fashion videos like back in the day of how it was, just bring things back to the basics. So we're not just absorbed into all of this high production and just it's just back to me. It's my life. I'm showing the realness of it because a lot of YouTubers, they make a lot of money. I haven't got to that stage. And I'm just a normal person that works a 9 to 5 job. And just, I wanted to showcase that and just bring some realness to the YouTube channel.
And that is really dope. And if my audience want to watch your channel, where can they watch it?
So if you just search up Honor's Diary, my stuff does come up. So if you just search that, then you can find my content.
Okay, nice, nice. So as a content creator, what have been a good thing about it, and what have been the biggest challenge about being a content creator?
It's interesting. I think the best thing that I adore is the creative outlet, and I can do whatever I want to do. I don't have to have like, for jobs, for example, I'm a social media manager. I have to do what my clients want to do, which is absolutely fine. But if my own channel, I get that creative freedom. It doesn't matter like what I film or what I do, like no one has to tell me what to do. And I think it's a really good outlet for me as I'm a very creative person. And also because I'm in a creative field where I don't have that as much control, it's nice to be able to have that control in my own thing and just showcase like my favorite parts of my life. And it's interesting because I actually really enjoy watching back my own vlogs because I like to watch, for example, when I went to the Cotswolds or when I went solo traveling to Belgium, having those memories to look back on is just something that I enjoy doing. And I actually find myself doing that because I'm like, oh, yes, I remember doing that. And I think the most difficult thing, funny enough, it's actually nothing to do with my current channel. It's to do with an older channel I had, which was a gaming channel, and that grew somewhat big. And I had ended up dealing with being stalked and doxxed. So that was really scary because I think it does just show you the dangers of the internet. And there are a lot of things I have learned from that situation. Um, and I think also when that happened to me, I only had like 1.5K followers. It's not like massive. So it's scary to think, okay, I don't need to be like a massive YouTuber of like millions of followers for people to like find this stuff out about me. So it really did almost like bring me back to reality in a bit and think, okay, yes, I need to be careful here. There are people who have bad intentions and it's really important to protect yourself when you're online. So that's probably the most negative thing that I've encountered when it came to content creation.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that happened to you, but that is crazy about the stalker thing. That's crazy.
It's crazy. Like it's strange. They just emailed me one day saying, "Hi, Oda. I saw you went to this school and that you live at this dress. That's so cool." And they just made it so casual, and I'm just here like alarm bells going off, like, "Oh my gosh, how'd they find this information?"
Yeah,
So I was just going through my whole like online portfolio, as in like every single social media account, like okay, what if I posted it could have this. And it turned out it was from a really old LinkedIn profile. And it's
Oh wow.
scary. It's just like you would not think to be careful those sort of situations. Like people are going to search up your LinkedIn, which is professional and it's meant to be like, for getting a job. But in this case, they wanted to know all the information about me. So yeah, I've had to really be careful with that since.
Yeah, and that is crazy. And what is your goal as a content creator? Which goal are you trying to reach?
So I think, I had the obvious goals like, I'd like to grow, it'd be amazing to hit 100,000 followers or anything like that. But it's not like my main, oh my God, I need to achieve this while doing my social media. I think my main goal is to have an impact on people where like basically I just achieve my mission of making people feel like they've escaped when they watch my channel and that they just feel inspired. And I want to leave a positive feeling after someone's watched my videos. So I really try to make sure I channel that, but also to expand my creativity and just push my boundaries. So I'm not creating the same videos and like, rinse and repeat doing this and that. Like, I want to experiment with my cinematography and little bits and pieces like that. So it's more personal goals and also just how people feel after they watch what I do.
That's dope. I know you're gonna reach all your goals. I know you're definitely gonna reach all your goals. Just keep doing your thing. And by the way, I have watched your videos and you're killing it. I like it. Keep doing your thing.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So you are also a self-help author. What made you
Yep.
want to? What made you want to get into? What inspired you to get into that?
So funnily enough, COVID is what really got me into that.
Mm,
And I think it's because I sat at home, everyone was bored and it was a very difficult time and I was challenged with anxiety. And I think so basically the story of my book, How to Romanticize Your Life, it is about living your best life in the day-to-day moment. And I basically just I don't want to say discovered it, but the the notion of it, I came across it through going through COVID and being bored at home. And, it just was very mundane, just sat at home. What do you do? And I really took things back to the basics where I'm like, okay, if I want to make the most of a situation, and I don't want to say enjoy it because, it's a difficult time. People have gone through horrible situations through that. But at least for me, to try and make the most of it and try bring a sense of happiness, I really focused on each of my day to day things that I was doing and like my routines and stuff. So, most people would just have a drink and that's that. Whereas I thought, okay, how can I make this an enjoyable experience and just really be present in the moment and practice mindfulness? So I did a lot of almost like discovering this through COVID. So, in the UK, at least we were allowed 1 hour a day when it came to exercise or going walking. So for me, it was how can I really make the most of that 1 hour of going out to enjoy myself and just appreciate what's around me. So for me, it was taking walks and really being in the moment. And funny enough, it was after COVID when we could integrate back into society and just going back into the full swing of things, like, back to work, back to school. And it was, I realized, like, okay, things are back to normal now, or back to normal.
yeah,
I say of quotation marks.
yeah.
And
No, I agree. I agree. I agree.
yeah, it's not really been the same since, really, but people just, focused on their goals and like, it was almost like, okay, let's try get back to normal. Let's try have children. Let's have get married, buy a house, career goals, all of that stuff. And I sat there and thought for a second, I thought, okay, I've achieved a big goal in my life, but nothing's really changed. I thought in a way back in the day when I wanted to be a YouTuber, but like big time, like proper, that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought, okay, I'm gonna like be successful and like my whole life's going to change. I can buy all these things and I can do this and I can do that and I'm gonna be the happiest I've ever felt. Then when my old YouTube channel started doing quite well and like there was really a momentum going, I thought, okay, here it goes. Like I'm going to suddenly feel really happy and I'm going to be like living my best life. And that didn't happen. Okay, yes, I was achieving my dreams, but my day-to-day life was still the same. I was still making my YouTube videos the same way. And okay, yes, I had more money at the time, but that's that. It was just money. And I realized, like, okay, achieving your goals and your dreams, yes, they're great and it feels amazing when you hit them, but that's not what matters in life. It's your
Yeah,
day-to-day life of how you live it. And I know that when you achieve your dreams, the next day you're back into your routine and you're waking
yeah,
up, you're making a cup of coffee, you're going to there and you're doing this and you're doing that. And actually, what matters most is what you do in those moments of how you live your day-to-day life. And I just thought, okay, people are dream chasers and they want to achieve the big things and they want to change their lives because there's parts of them that maybe feel a bit empty, they don't feel satisfied. And I truly believe that when you feel satisfied now, just in this moment, that's when you achieve the bigger things, that's when you're going to feel better in yourself because you didn't need those bigger things to get them and you didn't get those things out of place of lack. You achieved them because you wanted to and you didn't need it, but it was a want. And I feel like it makes it feel even better. And throughout my book I really wanted to touch that, and it's sort of like that's sort of the area of self-help that I wanted to go into.
man, that's really good. And if my audience wanted to read your book, how to romanticize your life, where they could get it.
So they can currently get it on Amazon. It's in different Amazons like around the world, so that isn't a problem. So yeah, you can get it from there.
Okay, nice, nice. It's funny that, well, not funny, but you mentioned COVID, and
Hmm.
we all been through it. I mean, out here in America, New York, it was bad. Like you said, quote
Hmm.
unquote, yeah, and things like that. We also deal with a lot of mental health. So
Yes.
why is mental health so important to talk about? And what's your biggest challenge to dealing with mental health?
So mental health has always been a big thing in my life. So I actually was diagnosed with depression when I was 15, 16. It's crazy how the years merge when you get older. And it's funny because it started when I was in high school, and it's almost like everything from the past just came crashing down all at once. And I was just thinking, oh my God, my life is terrible. It wasn't, but it felt like it was.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I think it was sort of like a time to reflect because everything that I did encounter in the past, what I mentioned earlier, the bullying, that kind of
yeah,
came to my forefront. Maybe I did kind of push it to the back of my mind and just moved on. But
yeah,
depression really made me deal with everything. And it was like, oh, okay, I didn't actually process these emotions. And I realized that I don't cry, I bottle it up and just move on with my day. And
yeah,
depression really made me think, okay, yeah, you can't do that. Your emotions got to come out. And I feel like it was a time for me to really face things. And I'll be honest, like as a teenager as well, you deal with a lot of stuff. Life is difficult and it's it's difficult to navigate because you're kind of going in between transitioning from a child to an adult. And it's sort of like a weird gray area that you're just trying to navigate. Because in one way, you feel like an adult and you feel like you know everything. You're navigating the world and all that. And another way, you're still a child, and there's that element that you still kind of crave. So, yeah, it was a lot for me to deal with. And I think for me in general, I do struggle with transitions and stuff. So, I think all the pressure of that just kind of came crashing down all at once. And I'll be honest, I was self harming. And at one point, I was getting to a point of like attempting suicide. But when that happened, like, it was like I was struck with reality and I was like, okay, yeah, I've hit rock bottom. And actually, instead of just running away and trying to deal with things like in my head, that maybe I should get some help. So I did that and it benefited me quite a lot. And then after the depression, I got diagnosed with anxiety. And an anxiety disorder is something that I still actually deal with today. Luckily, I've learned to manage it. So if I feel a panic attack coming on, I can deal with that. But in the beginning, it was very scary. And I feel like because of everything I've been through and with all the mental health I have dealt with, like it's something that I do find very important and I do advocate that. So when I left university and entered the job market, which is absolutely terrible in the UK when it happened, it took me a year to find a job. It was very difficult to deal with because I had to face with the fact of like, oh, maybe I'm a failure, maybe I'm not worthy, and all that. So during that time, I thought, okay, I need to do what I can to prioritize my mental health because I don't want to go back down the route that I went with depression. And this time round, if I felt emotional about not getting a job, I cried. I didn't just stuff it away. And I talk about my feelings. In fact, I talked about my feelings on my YouTube channel. Um, it's weird to think this is this time last year, actually. And I would make videos about talking about how I felt with my mental health and the challenges I came through when it came to job hunting and getting constant rejections for getting a job. And it's difficult because, you know, if you want money to go and do stuff, it's the worry of, can I afford these bills? I had friends inviting me to go on holiday, and I'm like, sorry, can't do that. I haven't got a job.
Yeah.
So it's all the implications of that. And I feel like that time round, I could have gone back down the route that I could have went when I was a teenager, but I had the tools to help deal with these difficult situations, but actually handle them healthier and better. And I think having the knowledge of these tools of things that you can do to help yourself is so important. And we're actually not taught that until counseling. And dealing with it honestly is talking about it. And I think it's something that we don't do as much these days. It's interesting because I was talking to someone who's a lot older, and he was saying that he believes mental health is a lot more difficult and is more of a prevalent challenge in this modern age. Because back in the day, if he had a hard day at work, he would go to the pub afterwards and he would talk with his co-workers over a pint and they would talk about it. But these days, I think, especially because of social media, we are a lot more isolated. We are a lot more busier these days. And we don't talk about things as much. So things do get bottled up and it does become a lot more challenging to deal with. So, yeah, I do think that we are in an age where maybe we're having to relearn some new methods when it comes to talking about our mental health and being open and honest about how we're truly feeling and not holding prejudice to people for their thoughts and their emotions. Um, and I think it is something that definitely should be talked about because, you know, even though we are a more proactive society when it comes to mental health, I do think there are some bits and pieces that are a bit hidden and not so talked about as much. So, yes, I do think it's very important to talk about it.
And first thing first, thank you for sharing that because yeah, I know exactly what you're going through. I also deal with depression, also was diagnosed with anxiety. I do deal with it today as well, but I know how to handle
Mm-hmm.
it. So yeah, and I wanted to talk about mental health on my show because you just never know who what any of us is going through. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
any of us do have a story. So I want to say thank you for sharing that, and thank you for just sharing your story. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I do try to be open and honest now these days with like my story. Younger me, like, would not be opening up about this. I would have just
Yeah,
been like, oh yeah, I'm absolutely fine. I had a great childhood.
yeah,
Things are
yeah,
great and all peachy and cream. And it's just like, actually, no, like it's good to be open and honest and talk about your story because that could create a channel for someone else to feel comfortable to talk about their story. And
yeah,
sometimes they're waiting for that first person to make a move and talk about themselves and their struggles to feel safe to be able to do so with them.
yeah. And that why I started the show because I wanted to help people spread their story and also spread my story too. Because I just like you, younger me would not be doing this either. Trust me, younger me would not
Mm-hmm.
be sharing my story and stuff like that. So yeah. So once again, thank you for that. Thank you for that. So let's get back to more brighter things. Let's get back to more
Yep.
brighter things. So what is your dream venture? Something that you always want to do?
Oh, I'll tell you what. I really want to visit communities around the world and experience completely different cultures. So there's a channel that I watch called Yes Theory. I don't know if you've heard of them. And they go travel to different places, but they do things that you wouldn't think about. So for example, they may go visit some tribes in some other countries or like communities where you wouldn't really think, like typically you would look at them and think, why would you want to go visit that? But then once you immerse yourself in those communities, you learn so many stories and you experience amazing and wonderful, unique things that you wouldn't have done or ever thought to have done. And I think that would just be something I would adore to do because instead of going on holiday to this beach and villa and doing the typical tourist stuff, being able to immerse yourself in communities and learn about traditions and culture and history as well, I just think that would be such a beautiful experience, and it's something that I would love to do, and it's on my goals to do one day. I definitely have a lot of anxieties about it. I mean, I haven't even been on a plane before. I'm
Oh
overcoming that in
wow.
2 weeks' time. I'm going to Florida, so it is interesting because back onto the mental health thing, like with anxiety, too terrified. I couldn't do it. Just like, nah, just the thought of it is just like, ugh. But just pushing myself and just doing things out of my comfort zone and be like, okay, no, wanna, it's time to go on a plane. It's time to explore and do things that scare you, but deep down you really want to do. And I just really want to push myself and do more bits like that because once I've done it, it's so liberating just knowing how you can just do things that you never thought you could ever do. And I just love that feeling of accomplishment.
And that's dope. And anything is possible. You could definitely travel around the world. Anything is definitely possible. And I ain't gonna hold you. I need to change that myself because I only went on a plane once. and I need to I need to do it way more. 'Cause I do want to travel as well. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got to change myself as well on that. So what other projects that you have going on that you have not spoke about yet?
So I'm currently in the works of another book, which is very exciting. It's actually more in the spiritual realm. So well, I'm not fully set on the title. I'm trying to do a play on words because my book's How to Romanticize Your Life. I'm wanting to do something like how to manifest your life. So that's
Mm,
something I'm currently working on. It's in very early stages, which I'm very excited about. Um, but also, I'm just looking to work on more writing opportunities. I love writing about the countryside and traditional British heritage, especially when it comes to fashion and designers. And I really want to immerse myself in that community more. So I'm hoping to take on some writing projects and just write about that as well as talk about it. So that's something that's in the pipeline that I'm really looking forward to talk more about when I'm getting there.
nice. And when you make that second book, I definitely should bring you back on the show because yeah, we're gonna talk about that second book. So I'll bring you back in a future episode. Mr.
Thank you so
Gentleman like the
much.
podcast. Yes. So what do you have to say for anybody going the same route as you for content creating, being an author? Say something inspirational.
If you want to do it, just go ahead and do it. Because it is interesting. I came across this quote literally earlier on today, and it stuck on with my head. If your boss tells you, okay, you need to do that deadline, you'll do it. If a friend says, oh, could you help me like do this and everything, like, I don't know, help me move into my house or something, you would do it. If you ask yourself, I want to start this YouTube channel, a lot of the time you don't do it. And
Mm,
you're basically telling yourself you don't trust in yourself. You don't feel like, you're basically undermining your own value because you don't listen to yourself. And that was an interesting quote or like phrase or whatever, because a lot of people, they have the dream to do content creation, but maybe they're worried about being judged, or maybe they're worried they don't have the stuff to do it. And if you just told yourself to do it, why don't you just listen to yourself? Because the worst that's going to happen is your first video is not going to be so great, but then you're going to try it again, and it'll be a little bit better. Then you try again, and just keep focusing on ways that you can improve. If someone's going funny about it, well, whether it's online, block them. If it's someone you know in person, they're a bit like, oh, really? You want to do a YouTube channel? They don't care about you that much. Because if they judge you, and okay, yes, sometimes they come from a place of worry because maybe from their reality, they always hear the stories of, oh, you can't be successful. It's really difficult to get, blah, 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 blah. They're doing it out of a place of maybe caring, but really, it doesn't matter. So what if you fail? You've tried it. I would rather fail knowing I've tried than failing to try because I don't want to be 80 and look back and think, oh, I wish I did that YouTube channel, but I was too scared to do it because I didn't know what people were going to think. Or, for example, my self-help book. There was a lot of thought of like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? But because my worry was, am I even qualified to do this? But I just said to myself, like, just do it. You don't know what you're going to write. And maybe it's the worst bit of writing you ever produce and you can just pretend it didn't happen. But you know what? It's fine because you did it and tried it. But maybe you'll surprise yourself and maybe it'll turn out even better than you thought it could have been.
And I'm not gonna lie, that was a really, really good advice. That was really good. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing
Thank
that.
you.
So before you go, we're gonna play a segment game called Five Random Topics. We ask you five random topics, and you give me a short or long response. I will also join in on this as well. So,
okay, cool.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yep. I think so.
Okay. All right. So, what was the last movie you saw in movie theaters?
Okay, hold on. Oh, Sonic 3.
Oh, okay.
That was so good. I really enjoyed that.
Nice. You know what's funny? That was also that was also last movie I saw in theaters as well, Sonic 3, and
oh my gosh,
it was really good. I can't wait for number 4.
I know. Can I just say that dancing scene is just so iconic. I love it. It was so funny.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite Sonic movies so far. I know Part 4 should be out in 2027.
Yes.
Yeah, it could be a while. It could be a while. All right, what is your favorite food?
It's funny because this actually changes all the time. Like I'll say, "Oh yeah, this is my favorite food," but then it isn't. Okay, I'm gonna say roast dinner. Do you know what that is? It's basically a Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in the UK we have it every Sunday.
Okay.
It's so good.
That's nice. That's nice.
How about you?
Me, I eat a lot. I like a lot of food, but if I had to pick something, it would be Thai food.
Oh yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really good. Okay. What is your favorite type of music?
It's difficult. It changes all the time. Like honestly, like me right now would be like, oh yeah, George Michael, like old 90s stuff. But if I'm being realistic and I'm thinking, okay, what do I always go back to? I don't even know what the genre is called. It's sort of like chill, a little bit emo-y. Have you heard of Joji?
I feel it sound familiar.
So Joji just very relaxed. It's sort of like I think the way he describes his music is songs you slow dance to at a prom. It's very chill and just like, yeah, I don't know how to word it. I don't know the genre. Maybe I just need to make one up. But yeah, it's just chill music.
Okay, that's a good choice. That's a good choice. For me, I like a lot of music, but if I had to say mainly R&B, especially old
Hmm.
school, I like old school music. Period. Like
Yes, I do.
2000s, 90s, 80s, especially the 80s. I love the 80s.
Hmm. I listen to pretty much everything.
Mm, yeah. So, what is your favorite show right now? Your favorite TV show right now?
So I'm going to name two because I have one that's a classic that I'm currently not watching right now, but I love it and I always gravitate back to it, and that's Gossip Girl. Probably the most girliest answer, but honestly, I love it. But then at the moment, I'm currently watching Daredevil. I'm on season one and I've just finished that, so I'm still waiting to see the others, so no spoilers. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's so good.
It's crazy because I literally just finished rewatching Daredevil literally like last week. So 'cause I know
Hmm.
the one again is out now, so I started watching that. But yeah, but if I had to say my show, I think about me, I watch a lot of TV, so it's hard for me to
Hmm.
pick. But I just started watching Suits. Well, I finished Suits, so that's one of them.
Oh,
And
okay.
if I go a little old school, Degrassi always been a show I always used to watch. I watch a lot of TV. I watch a lot of TV. I watch
Hmm.
this show called Paradise Now on Hulu, and yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, I got a lot of favorite shows. Got a lot of favorite
To be
shows.
honest, I watch a lot of The Simpsons. So, funny enough, when I was really ill, I had a bit of, I don't want to say a chronic illness, but like I was ill for a year a couple of years ago. I was like constantly sick, like bleh. Um, TMI. Anyway, because of that, I couldn't really do much. So I thought, okay, I'm going to watch every single Simpsons episode. So I did that. And I actually recently finished it or caught up about a few months ago. So it took a couple of years. There's thousands of episodes, but I loved it.
Mm. Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been watching since my pretty much since I was younger. So yeah, I do watch it to this day. So yeah. All right. So my last question: if you had to pick any artist to see in concert, who would that artist be? It could be a living or somebody who died.
Wow, my current obsession was say George Michael. um, but like, okay, let me think. Let me do something more creative and think. Who would be really good to see live? A part of me would really want to see either Kendrick Lamar, actually. I think that would be good. And actually, he's coming to the UK in the summer, so maybe I should get tickets. Yeah, I'm going to say Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, nice. I mean, yeah, Kendrick is definitely on my list as well.
Hmm.
But I wish I would have seen Michael Jackson. That's who I wish I would have seen.
Funny enough, that was in my head. I would have loved to see Michael Jackson. I think
Yeah,
that would have been very iconic to go see.
yeah. So you know what? Since you mentioned Kendrick Lamar, I got a bonus question. So
Hmm.
doing the beef, who would you root for, Kendrick or Drake?
Uh, I think I'm gonna have to say Kendrick if I'm honest. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I root for Kendrick too. 'Cause I've always been a Kendrick fan since I knew him before the beef. So yeah, so I would definitely root for Kendrick.
Yeah.
I was happy to hear Kendrick make new music. I was happy
Hmm.
about that, and he making more new music now. So I'm happy about that.
Yes,
But
definitely.
yeah, but Miss Anna, thank you for coming to the show. This was a really fun, good conversation. And thank you for sharing, everything that you've been through and what you're doing. And thank you for coming on.
It's okay. Well, thank you so much for having me. Like, I do think it's really important to talk about these topics. And
Yeah,
funny enough, this is the first time of me properly going into it because I don't know, I guess I haven't had the proper opportunity to. So it's been really nice to talk about it. And I'm glad I've been able to do it with you.
yes, and thank you for that. And I definitely, and when you release your second book, I definitely want to bring you back on a future episode with the Gentleman Like the podcast. So yeah, so this is my early
Amazing.
announcement to bring you back. Yes, and thank you again for
Thank you so
But of course, before you go, drop your social media where everybody can reach you, and drop your YouTube channel and where they can get your book. This is your time.
Okay, so you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube, I think even Bluesky. I don't even remember these days. Um, you can find me on Honest Diary. And then my book, How to Romanticize Your Life, The Ultimate Guide to Living Your Desired Reality, that can be found on Amazon.
Okay, nice. Thank you, and we'll be right back. I just want to take the time to thank everybody for watching the latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Pocket TV. Thank you to my special guest, Anna Lewis, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing everything that you are doing. And this was an amazing conversation. So once again, thank you for coming on the show. And we definitely gonna bring you back on a future episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Pocket TV. If y'all can check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Pocket on every Sundays for the main series, every Thursday for spin-off series Thursdays, where we had shows like a conversation about music every first Thursdays, date night talk podcast with myself, Vince Bound to Be, every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. And the Old School Show with myself and the Star Rider Rod every fourth Thursdays. The newest spin-off series Thursday show, the Top 20 Countdown Show with myself and Jalen coming in the fall of 2025. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pods, and many more. Or you can check out the official website of MrGentleman, like the podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethepodcast.com. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, like the podcast. Ken, aka Mr. Gentleman, like the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for watching this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman like that Pocket TV. Have a good day or night wherever you're watching this episode.